brothers and sisters, Achim, Achayot. If you all can hear me clearly, give me a one, please. If I could shout. I want to say shalom and a blessed evening to all brothers and sisters who have been blessed to return to the knowledge of who we are and to prayerfully be a part of the body of Yahushua HaMashiach. What I'd like to do on the short term, in concurrence with Morey Chazaq, is offer some linguistic background to what he's saying, if I can. Just real quick, some background about myself is I'm a Hebrew speaker and I'm a Hebrew student, and I'm a lay teacher of the language from a social, a linguistic vantage point. When he said it, transliterate is what it is. That's exactly true. Let me give you all an example of the linguistic or language impossibility that exists with Hebrew to Latin to Greek to English or anything of that nature. Romance languages like English, which is a derivative of Latin and Greek and ultimately has French and Spanish derivatives in it. Anytime you hear a language that's called a Romance language, it hails from Latin. Transliteration would allow, if it's possible, that a name in Latin has a equal name character-wise in Hebrew. Now, in Latin, you have possibilities of going across the linguistic line of language to language between Latin to English, because English is derived from Latin ultimately. When we look at the name of Mikhail Gorbachev, one of the ex-presidents of the United Socialist Soviet Republic, when you look at his name, Mikhail, some would say, is a...
I just want to make the statement that if you all remember, those of you who saw our YouTube video on the original discussion leading up to tonight, this debate, he said that this was between us and him. Remember that? And that he didn't need no audience. Y'all remember that? Now, I didn't necessarily expect that other people who were listening in would necessarily be talking on this. So all our brethren on Skype listening in, you all seen the video, and I believe some of these people in this Power Talk room saw the video. We were not under the impression that others would be talking besides our representative and the elder Chazaq. So now we're going to go through other people getting 10-minute segments to add into a conversation that is really supposed to be back and forth between. So the debate no more is between us and him proving his stance and us proving. We already know that some people are going to agree with him and some people are going to agree with us. So we don't need everyone talking, but we're not going to kick against it because they're hosting the room, and see how they have preset these rules? But we're going to deal with it, but just letting everyone know this is not what we expected, all right?
Okay. Hey, I'm not getting a response from the brothers from the Knesset in Buffalo. Now, what I want to say is to keep the confusion down while someone is talking, we want no one to text. We'll leave to open up the forum and we'll ask those that have a question to ask a question. Now, when I come back to the mic, I will address whatever questions people may have. Now, as of right now, we have a couple of questions that's on the board. We have a few statements. So I want to ask the question. This is my question to O. Benjamin. Are you part of the Knesset in Buffalo? The brothers that are in Buffalo, the Knesset in Buffalo, are you brothers signed in? Under which name? Okay.
Shalom. Good evening. This is Brother Zadok from the Knesset. The only members here right now representing necessarily this particular small congregation is myself and my co-partner, Brother Nashawn. I just wanted to state for the record that the transliteration point that was brought out, I have here in front of myself, also with Wikipedia and also with dictionary.com. I have here the definition There is nowhere that we will find written in any dictionary or in any book of grammatical teaching that a transliteration changes the definition of a name. We see here that every source that I see continues to say that it is to represent letters or words in corresponding characters of another alphabet. Word origin and history, to write a word in the characters of another alphabet. So for instance, in Hebrew, the name Yosef, which is the name of one of the patriarchs of the families of Israel. If you call a man Joseph, that is an actual transliteration of the Hebrew. Now, you can use the Y, but J and Y are interchangeable in the English language. You can say Joseph, or if you go over to Italy and you call a man Giuseppe, transliterated, his name is spelled differently, but yet his name doesn't mean any different from Joseph. Jose also. You know, George. In Spanish you could call him Jorge, with a J-O-R-G-E with certain hyphens and accent symbols to give you the sound they're trying to produce. But yet we find nothing, and maybe people will put up more information, but we're just being fair that at this time we have found nothing that says that the transliterated word or name has changed in definition. We simply do not find anything to say that. So all the different names, because I know we are focusing on the Mashiach's name in the Hebrew tongue, but all the other names in the Hebrew tongue also have been transliterated. All of them. And none of them have lost the meaning of their name while being pronounced in the characters and sounds of another language. So we are under the impression that if you take the Hebrew, if you take a Hebrew name and wrote it in Chinese characters, the writing of it in other characters would not take away from the definition of what the name means. I heard a brother make a statement about Mikhail Gorbachev, one of the ex-Russian leaders, and we respect the point that he has, but we simply can't agree because we don't find it. There is nowhere we have found that transliteration means that it takes that. So what I'll do is, at this time, I'll yield the mic on that point and issue and let it continue. Thanks.
3 minutes left? Alright. Well, I think well, for the 3 minutes, we'll just say this and then you can go on once our 3 minutes is up. We don't have the book. Well, we have the book with us, but I wish we could have transmitted the file. I don't have the ISBN number. The name of the book is called The History of the Hebrew Language by Edward Horowitz. And now, first of all, I just want to say within a couple minutes, we don't teach, first of all, let's get this out the way. We don't teach that you have to say the name Jesus. Alright? In fact, it really doesn't matter, man, you know, at least far as we're concerned, what you call the Messiah. Alright? If you call him Yeshua, you feel that you have to call him Yeshua, we're not debating that. We're not here to look at the validity of the name Jesus. You know, there are congregations out there that say that if you don't teach the name, if you're not using the name Jesus, then, you know, the Most High is not hearing you. That's definitely not what we're saying. As a matter of fact, we never searched out to find out, you know, the validity of Jesus or anything of that sort. Actually, what happened was, myself and Sean, I was studying Hebrew, you know. I was just doing some personal research. I went to the library, found a book called The History of the Hebrew Language by this guy, Edward Horowitz. And as I was reading a little bit of history, he began to break down in his book about how the Greek alphabet was given to them by the Phoenician Canaanites, you know, in their trading.